ATS presents the Realty Debate, powered by Tata Capital, with Manisha Natarajan.
2015 has been definitely a difficult year for real estate. Not just real estate. If you look, I mean, we tend to single out real estate, but businesses as a whole have not had a good time in 2015. So it's not just this industry alone. Obviously, when you look at numbers like piling up inventory, unsold homes, and those are made headlines, you feel that things are tougher. But believe me, if I speak to any industry, things have been very difficult in 2015. There's been an economic pickup which was expected, which hasn't really happened, which has affected everything. There's also been a policy paralysis. We've all seen what's happening in the parliament on a daily basis. Less said about that, the better. So I think the message is really clear at this national conclave. Instead of looking to the government, I think everyone has to decide that we got to do things ourselves. Despite all odds, we have to pretty much do what we have to and lift this industry as a whole. So let my panelists, of course, everybody knows, but let me introduce everyone. We're going to look forward to 2016. We're going to look at hope. We're going to look at how to revive this industry. We know all that hasn't gone well, but we're going to hope that things will turn better. All right, T. Chitti Babu, he is from Akshaya Homes and also Kredai member, Baman Irani, Kredai member, and Rustamji, Irfan Razak, a veteran in the industry, somebody I truly respect, from Prestige, Gitambar Anand, vocal, vociferous, honest, truthful, says what he has to. Pleasure to have you with me. And Sanjay Gupta, for a perspective of an outsider who's looking at a large portfolio of home loans, also loans to the industry, on what's right, what's not, and what can be fixed in 2016. Welcome everyone. Let me just start with Mr. Razak. Mr. Razak, we've all yesterday discussed on things that haven't gone right in 2015. 2016, do you have hope that the basic thing which the industry needs, which is demand for housing, that will come back?
Manisha, we always live on hope. And there's no way that we can give up hope. We are in an industry which is where it's all long-term play. There's no short-term in this. And we must also understand the type of markets that we have. You look at it in Indian context, the type of urbanization that is happening, the type of population that we have, and the demand for housing is insatiable. It's only who's my target audience we need to understand. And if we address that target audience, I think there is no question of the demand not being there. The demand is always there. It all depends on who I address this demand to and how I address this demand.
So Mr. Razak, do you, when you look back at the last 2 years, feel that somewhere the industry got its math wrong in terms of what kind of supply came into the market?
Yeah, in a way, yes, in a way, no. I think a lot of people have adapted. Certain micro markets, the prices did definitely go up out of the reach of the people who, which was the target audience. Because you have all types of customers. You just need to understand who's your customer, who you're addressing to, and what type of micro market you want to operate in and which class of product you want to do. Now you look at the automobile industry, you've got a Tata Nano, and you've got the most luxurious of the cars, the Lamborghinis and the Bentleys. Now it all depends on which developer wants to target which target audience, which customer, and to that extent understand the market and try and produce the goods there. But one thing I must say, we are again on a threshold of a boom because there's a big talk on the commercial property getting consumed. Now if that is happening, the reality is more jobs are getting created. And if more jobs are getting created, obviously the next step is somebody's got a stable job. Somebody would like to invest in a home.
Gitambar Anand, look at some of the triggers for the real estate industry. Mr. Razak just mentioned the fact that, now institutions are considering 30-year loan. That's a big trigger. Suddenly EMIs become so much lower. You've already had a 125 basis cut interest rates or home loans at least have come down to single digit. Do you think that this is a big positive? And coupled with the fact that you've got an IIP number August 15 at 6.30, these are sure enough signs, they give you the confidence of an economic revival?
Absolutely, Manisha. And let me give you the science behind what Irfan has just said, the logic, the theory. Things are definitely going to keep getting better. And there's nothing that can stop this business from going further. It's also our spirit, we fight adversity and we keep smiling through adversity. I must congratulate all of us sitting over here for that. You should clap for yourselves. The science is that in the last 3 years, your previous question, in the last 3 years, what happened was that there was a lot of interest from corporate houses in real estate. So be it the Tatas, Godreges, today Bharti, you name it, and a lot of corporate houses are coming into real estate. Our existing players also in the last 3 years became very aggressive because the opportunity to buy land in prime areas of every city that window was open at that point in time. The supply that came through in these last 3 years was before its time.
Yes.
But there is a documented shortage. There's a shortage of 6 crore homes in the entire country which need to be delivered by 2022. So the math cannot go wrong. It's only that the timing has gone wrong.
Okay.
What is going to happen here on? All that land in prime areas has been bought. It is now, some of it has been launched, some of it is yet to be launched. What I would assume is that what you get now in these locations is the last. What you will get hereafter will be in locations which are outside the prime areas, maybe outside the city also, where there is infrastructure today or there is proposed infrastructure tomorrow. So all the land which is in the city or closer to the city in every location in the country which has not been launched or which has been partly launched or which is completed but not sold will see a lot of buyers in 2016 and onwards. All this stock is going to get consumed by the market because the prices are rock bottom.
Are they?
They're totally.
So there is this whole question mark which keeps coming in many articles. Who's going to blink first, the developer
No.
or the buyer?
That story is over and done.
Okay.
You see, there has been a correction of 15 to 20% in the last year and a half, right?
Yes.
We all know that. And none of us sitting here will, do an out-of-pocket expense just to sell that apartment. So this is it.
Baman, would you agree that real estate cycles have become extremely short? You saw a somewhat of an upside right after the Lehman crisis, markets crashed, but in 2009 itself, the markets picked up. And then again in 2012 end or 2013 beginning, they started to taper off. So cycles which used to be 5 years, maybe the uncertainty which the industry and the consumers looking for opportunities, those cycles have got shorter. And you're confident that the worst is behind the real estate sector now?
So Manisha, we're in the internet age, right? Everything is faster. So the cycles are also moving at that speed. I think these are interesting times. You do mention a lot of challenges, but like my chairman and president mentioned, we are a very studied, resilient, positive group of individuals who get into this real estate development. We've been, by our training, literally been, forced to adapt to all kinds of situations. Now, let me just give you a few factors, which will really spur the market on. The fact that it has been lulled is one, indication that it will go up. There are a few things like the 30-year loan, home loan. This, has automatically doubled the buying capacity. The 7th pay commission has come into play. The, commercial real estate development, commercial development which has been lying unused for some time has suddenly seen a spurt of activity. I can speak for the MMR. It actually started spiking like this. So now the next, yes, and now the next question is, oh my, where is it going to stop? Why do I get left behind? So there is this craze to go ahead and now start locking in those properties. Developers have also improved their efficiencies. You asked about prices. I think the prices are now more a factor of the cost that is being incurred in. On the efficiency side, on the technology side, on their ability to kind of raise the lowest financial cost for the projects. Every developer is astute out here. Every CREDAI member has been continuously given the opportunity to interact with every single institution. So we are at what is called our pinnacle best. And given the fact that 2022 if you have to achieve what the vision of the Prime Minister is, you're talking of 6 crore homes as per him and 9 crore homes as per some other numbers. Just to give you an idea, that's 35,000 homes every single day would have to be built and put out there so that everybody gets a home.
Wow.
Given these factors, you're not seeing any kind of a, you will see some kind of roadblocks, but they are not going to be roadblocks for long. They will just be blown aside by the very fact that the market exists.
All right. Chitty Babu, you believe that? I mean, your city actually has gone through hell and come back and emerged, actually shown the citizen spirit that irrespective of what happens, Chennai will bounce back. But Chennai has also been one of the markets which was fairly badly hit by the slowdown per se. Project launches came down dramatically. What do you think is your sector in that city likely to tackle 2016 in any different way than the rest?
See, actually, whatever has happened for the city is a big challenge, but this challenge is not specifically for the city called Chennai. We have seen this in Mumbai, we have seen this in Jharkhand, we are seeing that in Delhi. So I think we as developers, we should not even look at only the business part of it and real estate industry part of it, or we should talk only about the incident and accidents happening in that particular city. If it is happening across, so Gujarat has taken with the earthquake, Uttarakhand has taken the flash flood, Mumbai had that heavy kind of a rainfall. Chennai, if you look at, I'm living there for the last 25 years, the first one which has hit is the earthquake, and it is not noticed. But after the first time, it has 4 times happened in a row. Maybe in 10 years, 4 times we have felt that earthquake in Chennai. Then comes tsunami, now comes the flood. So, which has never been calculated or estimated in any of our businesses, not only in real estate business, in any of our businesses. So one large thing what we should look at is the climate change and the global warming, which is definitely happening. It is affecting every business part of it. Now we need to consider this also into our businesses. Now with this flood, what has actually happened in Chennai, good developers are identified, good locations are identified, good products are identified. Very sincerely, customers who already bought also thinking of moving to a better location.
Yes.
Means a good product, a good location, a good development with this kind of a product, this the ability can definitely able to see a differentiator from the market. In that way, the inquiry levels have actually gone up in last 2-3 weeks with the good locations. It is not the first time home buyer is buying today. Today we have a market where people already who have bought and suffering, wanting to move. Of course, it is not immediately possible, but at least for about 20 to 30% of the people who is living in that kind of a locality has the ability to buy a product in a better location.
Sanjay, I think we would like an outsider's perspective. You know, the industry. Okay. Insider perspective, but an honest insider perspective. So, you know, 2015 has also been marked by huge debt accumulation for the industry. Per se, it's not been an easy time to raise capital. PE funding has touched an all-time high, which everyone feels very excited about, but we know that the color of money is not very cheap when it comes even as PE. In fact, it's a very hard, it's hard money and at a very, very high cost. Do you think that 2016, now that the industry has used to slow down to buck up on several fronts, become more efficient, likely to be the year of turnaround?
Well, Manisha, to be very frank, I'm rather surprised, listening to my colleagues from the industry. They know more about economics than I thought they know about, right? So one is the cyclicity of the economy. It is not a decoupled economy at all. And what I see of 2014 or 15 is very much reminiscent of the US economy of 2008, 2009. Well, if you just go back to the Western Hemisphere, the money actually did not disappear. It did not go into the Lake Michigan. But what happened was the sentiment was down. And I think that is exactly what happened to our economy. That the CAD is down, the inflation is down, the GDP growth is healthy, IPP is healthy. Why isn't the velocity there?
Yes.
Right, and I think that is all a matter of sentiment, and I'm sure the Indian citizens at large have realized that this is the truth, this is how it would be, this is how a democracy will span out, We have to make our own decisions, and this is the right time we should make a decision and not delay it any further. I think even individuals are now fed up of sitting
On the fence?
on the fence. A guy like me, who has spent 30 years in the housing finance industry now, has gone ahead and bought my first house.
Okay.
Right? Because I thought it was the right time. Interest rates were low, property prices are low. Another very big thing, and I keep saying it in all the fora that I attend, if these people don't make a profit, how do you think the industry will carry on? So it's a very wrong expectation to keep asking the real estate developers to keep bringing prices down. Now, just a minute. I do differentiate between costly and expensive. I do differentiate between profit and profiteering. They ought to be making a profit. I'll just give you some statistics about the housing finance. I don't know what is the requirement in the real estate. If housing finance companies, which contribute about 37% of finance to the housing sector, both to the corporates and to the retail customers, were to grow at 20% CAGR for the next 5 years, their rate of internal accrual, that means their profitability is about 18% per annum. And the balance sheets are levered at about 8 times. So for each 100 rupees, you are leveraging 800 rupees, right? We require a capital of 3 lakh crores in the next 5 years. And as you very rightly said, this capital is going to be foreign capital, right? So who is going to invest with us if we do not give a 18% ROE? So if banks, HFCs, which work at a margin, at a PAT margin of about 1.5%, have to give an ROE of 18%, my friends have to at least give an ROE of about 20 to 24%.
My God.
And they pay my salary. I'm very, very clear about it. My retail customers and my corporate customers pay my salary. They pay to my stakeholders. So if I am expected to make 18% ROE, they ought to be making 22, 24% ROE. And that is the only factor I'm today telling you my inside story. When I look at project funding, if my developer friend is not making a 24% ROE, I won't fund because they will not service my loan.
Mr. Razak, what's your opinion on FDI, the norms which just changed? I do think that that's been the biggest positive for the industry. Foreign capital can flow in, stringent exit laws have been removed, minimum project size has, that criteria has been taken away. Are you excited?
Yes, that really tells you that you have access to capital. And
Will it come? Will foreign capital come?
It is coming, and they are very interested. Only thing is they've had this bad experience earlier. So now they're very selective. Though a lot of norms have changed and everything has changed, they still are doing the homework. Like my dear friend said, they also look at the ROE, return on investment, return on capital, and all of it. And they also have another big risk that they take is the exchange risk. Now calculating all that, and if they feel the project can do well, they factor in all the delays and everything else that goes on in our industry, including the delay of getting approvals. Now if you take all that into account, and still if they feel in a particular project there is enough cash there, enough money to be made, because see, they also have a lot of capital that needs to be deployed. It's not that they're just coming and doing a favor to you.
All right. Baman, how would you ensure investors that money will be made? I mean, most of the investors, even PE investors, tell me that there's no surety on when the project will get completed. The approval processes continue to remain such a challenge. How do I even build in my ROIs?
History, I mean, you have to back people who are capable of delivering. I think most people, including Mr. Gupta out here, would look at, where is the history of the developer? With that history, of course, comes the integrity, like Chairman just mentioned. It's very, very important to understand that when the first round of funding came, a lot of money went into the, little places which no one had heard. Everybody had heard of a great story. People could not, even understand it. But everybody is just jumping on to something that they thought was much bigger than they understood. This time around, I think we are all a lot more intelligent, a lot more cautious, a lot more experienced. And having said that, even the fund sides are a lot more experienced. Gone is that initial greed, gone is that absolute, that I'll miss this bus and I have to make it. Today we are all a lot more mature, and this maturity will yield very good results. Intelligent capital has understood that. They're already chasing deals. You'll see a lot more deals taking place. So Manisha, all in all, I think, yes, you will see a lot more deals, and money will always murmur, before it walks in, but after that, it's like rock solid and it's behind you.
Are you confident, Gitambar, money will come in? The FDI taps now that they've been opened up.
So, Manisha, you said it right in your question. The foreign partner still feels that our approval system is a huge obstacle. Now, we've been shouting hoarse about it. We can't perform till you don't enable us to perform. For example, look at the Environment Ministry. They have come up with a correction in the Environment Act which says a factory which is more than 1.5 lakh square meters, that is more than about 16 lakh square feet, needn't come to us for an approval or a clearance.
But 20,000.
A hospital needn't come to us. Listen to this. A hotel needn't come to us, but housing still needs to come if it is more than 20,000 square meters. Why? Delhi High Court in 2010 in a judgment has maintained and established that housing is not a polluting activity because the people living there don't really cause pollution. So we, time and again have approached our environment minister, sir, please give us a hearing, and this is logical. It is what we are asking for is not unreasonable.
I'm going to take a very quick short break at this moment and come back with two other big events which are unfolding, which hold immense opportunities for real estate, which is affordable housing and smart cities. We can't ignore these two big agendas or goals that government has and the sector will be participating in 2016 and of course subsequent years. We'll be back in just a moment.
80S presents the Realty Debate, powered by Tata Capital, with Manisha Natarajan.
Welcome back. We're at the National CREDAI meet, and of course we're looking at 2016, some of the big emerging opportunities for the real estate sector. We've already taken a look at foreign direct investment and how the taps have opened up. If everything falls into place, good developers will be able to attract a lot of capital, which is looking at India as the big growth story, and housing is an inherent need which needs to be met. Affordable housing, that's also another big conversation which needs to be done. Who's going to make affordable homes? Is it going to be developers? Is it going to be the government? Or they will have to come together and do it? Akshay Babu, what do you feel about this whole affordable housing big 2022 goal which the government has? It's quite obvious that they can't do it alone, yet I don't see enough incentive right now for real estate sector and developers to get into this sector. What would you want in 2016 to make that happen?
Affordable housing, in my mind, unless land parcels are made available in large at a reasonable price, it is definitely going to be a big question mark for this country. How the land parcels will be made available is only by a proper master planning of every city. When you have a proper master planning of a city, and when the infrastructure is being given in suburbs area with a proper road infrastructure, and also with the other social infrastructure which is required to develop such projects, it is going to be impossible to have affordable housing in every city.
So you're saying, what I'm hearing is that at the moment, as things stand, there is no business logic for developers to get into affordable housing?
That is mainly because of the land prices, land prices which is available.
All right. Okay, hold your thought there. Sanjay Gupta, what do you think? This whole affordable housing, it's a big agenda, there is a huge requirement, and the panelists here have agreed to some extent the supply which has come in the last 3 years has been inordinate, but probably not for the segment which really requires homes. So they also get it. It's the lowest hanging fruit, but yet people are unwilling to get into it. So there has to be something fixed.
Well, I would agree with Mr. Chetty Babu. There are two components which are very important. I call it as mass housing, addressing the requirement of the masses. Because affordability is a very, I would say, a fluid statement, right? And so one is obviously the availability of land, which is the most expensive raw material. And the second one is skilled manpower with technology to quickly sort of deliver those houses. Now, those are two very important factors or inputs which I think the government has to focus on if they really want, housing
Mass
for
housing.
all by 2022.
So there's been a lot of development, Gitambaranan, from the UP government. You've had, suddenly land conversion licensing is happening very quickly, and I can see a lot of excitement in developers looking at Noida, Ghaziabad, those markets. Do you think more can be done by state governments?
Yes, absolutely. See, UP is an example to emulate, to follow. You look at Noida extension. So we have many friends here from Greater Noida West is what we call it. The government didn't create more land. It liberalized FSI. So when we started in 2009-10, the FSI was 1.5 and it was increased to 3.5. What happened then was there was a gush of supply. And today, in Noida extension, you can get a great development with all the infrastructure and the goodies, as we call them, the clubhouse, swimming pool, power backup, etc., at 3,400, 3,500 rupees a square foot in the NCR. That is affordable, very affordable. Maybe the ticket sizes need to be redone a bit or whatever, but I think the price of per square foot of 3,300, 400 rupees is fantastic. What needs to be learned from the UP experience is that, put in the infrastructure first. So what UP does is, it puts in all the infrastructure first. Then it sells the land.
Baman, do you think states will compete now? There seems to be some sense of competition emerging in states, which I think is the best thing which can happen to all industries.
Yes, I can say this with relative confidence that this competition within states is a very good thing. Recently we were in Rajasthan, and over there the Chief Minister invited us, and she actually said, I want to build 5 lakh homes. Come and tell me what can be done. And 15 lakh homes, and I'm not going to be able to do it myself. So far, the government's always thought affordable housing is something that they would do to take care of the demand. But they've realized now, without the private participation, without the intelligentsia in this market, they're not going to be able to achieve as much. So towards this, great initiatives. Maharashtra has in some way always been the path breaker for most of the things. We were the first ones to come up with, SRA. We were the first ones that had a MOFA much before the rest of the country knew. But just let me tell you one point about affordable housing. If you do not understand the impact of taxes, just to give everybody an idea, out of every 100 rupees that a consumer pays for an apartment, something like 38 rupees goes straight, directly, indirectly into the coffers of the ULB, the state and the central government. What that leaves is 62 rupees with which you're supposed to kind of run the entire process, pay the banks, pay the entire salaries, buy the materials, handhold the customer with all his stuff, and then go out and pay an income tax at the end of the day. So you need a little bit of rationalization out there.
In the budget, Mr. Razak, what are your expectations? Do you think, forget about an industry status for the sector as a whole, just the basic demand, give affordable housing in industry status, that's something which is a crying need for the country. Are you feeling or getting any feelers that might be considered in the coming budget?
I want to echo what Baman just now said. It's all very well to talk about affordable housing. The first thing that we should understand and recognize is that it's a need. It's a necessity. And the faster and the earlier we work together with the governments and see that this housing is created, because this will be like the stepping stone for so many things that can happen in this country. Like now, if somebody is setting up an industry, they don't think where the workers are going to stay, how they are going to commute. So it's a matter of housing, infrastructure, social infrastructure, and all of that. And if you ask me what I want in the budget, I mean, as an industry, I don't think we want anything from the government except that ease of doing business. More than anything else, one thing we must realize, and the government also should realize, is the government is not capable of creating these homes. Absolutely. And if they do create it, they are a disaster. Homes that they will create at so-called affordable housing are unlivable. Absolutely. So that is the biggest thing.
So affordable housing seems like really it is a miracle waiting to happen, but smart cities, we've just actually closed on the deadline for smart cities, and surprisingly, we hear the number was about 85 cities have applied. I think Tamil Nadu has got some amount of extension, and that number might go up to 100. But really, how big is the opportunity for the real estate sector? You're talking about smart cities. You'll have to build new ones and rebuild older ones. We'll come back and take a look at that.
ATS presents the Realty Debate, powered by Tata Capital, with Manisha Natarajan.
Welcome back. Smart cities, big buzzword and clearly big on the agenda of the NDA government. How will real estate participate in this smart city story? I've got an eminent panel with me here at the CREDAI National event. Let me get their vote on what's going to happen. Very quickly, I'm going to start with Baman. Are you excited about smart city, or is it just a big buzzword?
So smart cities are actually the electric car, what the automobile industry was, you know.
Is it an IT story or is it a real estate story?
It is.
Nobody is able to understand that.
Is it a story? Yes.
Okay.
Is it a reality? Yes, it's possible. Smart cities are just an extension of what we call living, living intelligently. It's only expected, I mean, the basics expected of a smart city are pretty simple. You know, a walk to work kind of culture, a place where you'd have Wi-Fi for all your needs. You know, you have a city that responds to, I mean, today you already have...
Utilities. All your utilities have to fall into place and work.
Yes, they do. And, look at it this way. Gujarat has already announced GIFT, which is in a way the smartest city that they're doing. The whole purpose out there is the government has taken the initiative to put together the entire package. Beyond that, they're hands off. They say, we'll give you all the, all the tools. Beyond that, it's all up to you, because we understand the market. We'll be able to bring that in. I see it as the future, the electric car, and that will really happen and will drive business in a big way.
Mr. Razak, are you confident?
Manisha, just tagging a city with the prefix of smart doesn't work. First of all, we need to define what is a smart city. And we need to understand how to make our cities smarter. I think the first step is, the intent of the government could be that, look, we want to create 600 new cities, or maybe the existing cities, make them better, give a better quality of life, create better infrastructure, create better living conditions, have more clean green air, and that is probably the intent. And with that intent, if people understand that intent and have that, again, ability to think and that vision to envisage that, it's just not about the center dishing out money every year to spend and to waste away and to fritter away that money just by putting probably some fiber optic cable somewhere or some synchronized traffic lights in isolation. It doesn't work. It's a great thought, it's a great idea. Now it's only the implementation of ideas that needs to be done. If the government and the industry, need not be the real estate industry also, all stakeholders get together, work in a spirit of partnership, miracles can happen.
Can happen. All right, Gitambar, very quick view. Are you excited about the smart city opportunity, or is it something, there are larger issues right now to be taken care of and that's not top of anybody's agenda?
No, that's not top. There are larger issues which need to be addressed. Let's be practical. There's lots of work to be done. There's lots of work to be done by government to make this housing for all possible. Smart cities, I'll tell you, greenfield smart cities, brownfield smart cities.
Yes.
Now, greenfield land acquisition bill, you can't get the land, so how will you do a greenfield smart city? It's a pipe dream. It's going to take time. Brownfield, existing smart cities, smart, it should be made smart. And then, there's so much to be done in a brownfield, project for a smart city, which actually makes life better for the people who are already living there.
Right.
GIFT. Yesterday we were having a conversation and you told me that you went to GIFT, but how do you relocate people from an existing location to GIFT? Will they go there? Why will they go there? How many will go there? And how much time will it take for them to go there? 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? My friends from Andhra here, Vijayawada is the new capital, so the entire city is being redone. So we are waiting. We've seen GIFT fantastically done. I mean, hats off to the effort of the Gujarat government. It's an example for all states to follow, but it's an ambitious project. When will it really be giving money back to the government? Same thing with Vijayawada. Andhra. So we are waiting to see what these governments do with their cities, and you can ask my friends from there whether actually people will relocate to the new location to live there, work there, their children go to school there. It's a big challenge.
Idea.
It's a big challenge. Having said that, it's a great idea, but like you said, there's more important work to be done right now. Let's get our present act together and then, let's climb the first 3, 4, 5 rungs of the ladder and then jump at the top. You can't just do that. You just can't go there.
All right, let me round up by some of the big expectations you have for the sector in 2016?
Well,
One, two, three, not more than three.
okay. The first one is that these sort of changes, if we have to bring about, are long-term changes, and the banks they need capital, as I have already said. Besides that, they need long-term debt. So there has to be a restructuring of the debt market. Our country, if it really wants to deliver so many houses and infrastructure, public transport, etc., to make cities livable, we need long-term debt. We need certainly a secondary market or mortgage-backed securities, MBS, things like that. So right away, the debt market is very narrow and very shallow, and I'm sure that the government needs to take some actions on that too.
All right, so that's your top on the wish list. I'm only going to ask you for one because I know Gitambar, otherwise you'll have 10 points. Top, what is it? 2016 on your wish list, what's the biggest?
We want the government to listen to us more proactively and get something done.
Okay.
That's it.
Mr. Razak?
If you ask me what I want for 2016, change our mindset, and let's all together change the sentiment. Because today, what is the biggest bane of our industry is this sentiment, where we are keeping on talking negative. As a company, personally, we got listed 5 years ago. Every time I have an interaction with the media, and if I go back and replay or some of those clips, last 5 years we are only talking about the industry being down. And in the last 5 years, we ourselves as a company have grown 500%.
Wow.
So, where is the downturn? The downturn is in the mind. And the media keeps playing again and again this story about excess supply, when to buy a home, when not to buy a home. What really happens is the customer gets psyched. And when the customer gets psyched, he doesn't know what to do. Because finally, I'll tell you, this is the single largest investment any person makes in his or her lifetime.
Absolutely.
And the biggest investment and the biggest risk they take. So obviously they have to be careful and doubly careful. And another thing, my wish list for 2016 is whoever is building whatever, focus on delivering the goods that you have committed that you will deliver.
Yeah.
And if you start delivering, you build a trust quotient. I think that will be the takeoff for the industry.
I think that's music to everybody's ears. If you can restore that trust deficit, most of the battle is won. Baman?
Manisha, my wish list is quite simple. I hope the penny drops in the government's minds, and I hope they understand that this is the industry that's going to drive, growth in the future. And as far as our entire developer fraternity is there, I want a commonality of message. I want a commonality of cause, right? So basically, coming together like this, understanding what is the way the industry should be driven, rather than our own individual small needs, is something that I wish for all my fraternity.
Chitty Babu, last but not the least.
Manisha, to my mind, 2016 is coming very closer. I think the first bill should be a regulatory bill, and the regulatory bill should have all the 4 major stakeholders into the bill. And very importantly, a time frame should be clearly given for single window clearance. If that happens, I'm sure the industry will definitely lead and make big stories.
So you think fine with the regulator bill as long as it comes along with a single window clearance?
We are definitely welcoming the regulatory bill, but we are repeatedly saying that all the 4 major stakeholders should be part of the bill, not leaving out the government agencies and not leaving out the financial institutions who are funding the projects.
That's a very one-sided approach. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to conclude here. Thank you very much for joining me on this special debate on NDTV Prime.